there. Thanks for listening to the Cover It Show. We have exciting guests today. We have LittleBen, and then we have John Tuckness. LittleBen, just the song that you heard right now is from Dark Light. Dark Light hails from Seattle, and LittleBen is a member in the band of Dark Light. And he's online right now. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. It's so good to talk to you and hear from you.
I know. Likewise.
Thanks. So, so with Dark Light, it's just amazing the energy and everything with the music. I've played it before on here for the listeners out there that have heard you guys before. You know, a lot of positive feedback on your music. And then, I was just kind of wondering, how old were you when you picked up your first instrument?
Oh, God, my first instrument, I had to be probably 4 years old. I've been playing music ever since I was a little kid.
Awesome.
It's kind of an addiction.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. It usually seems to stem from childhood. And then you have comedy that you do?
Yes.
And with your comedy, gosh, it's so hard to interview you because you are a jack of all trades or a man of all trades or whatever you want to call it. For the listeners out there, he's a comedian, a great comedian, funny as funny can be, and also a musician and also a promoter and also this and also that, and you just do so much. And how do you have the energy to accomplish everything that you do accomplish day by day?
It's just the drive and passion to do it. I'm a person that if I think, wow, this would be great to do, I just jump in head first and I try to make it happen. And comedy is kind of as what a lot of people are not aware of with musicians in general, our lives are comedy. Most musicians are always cracking jokes to each other. In the days of Facebook, most bands have the private band chats where that's pretty much what happens is they're cracking jokes back and forth. We're not actually talking about writing songs. We're cracking jokes. So, and me being an event promoter, I had promoted music for a number of years. I just wanted to kind of take a breather from that and do something different. So I always have loved comedy and loved watching comedians. And so it was kind of a bucket list thing. I was like, well, why can't I get on stage and do that and be a comedian? So I just kind of dove in head first and started doing it.
Excellent. So where is the last place that you did where you did comedy at?
I do a lot of comedy, as you know, in a lot of rooms. Actually, last night I performed and hosted a show at Tony V's Garage in downtown Everett, Washington, and it was a fantastic show.
Nice.
We had about 8 comedians perform. The place was packed. We had a really good time.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. And then in the near future, what do you have coming up?
I will be performing at the Comedy Underground on July 5th, Sunday, after 4th of July weekend, obviously, for what's called the Mulattoes of Comedy. This is a event they do once every couple of months. The last time they did it, I actually was very honored to be asked to host. I hosted the show and performed, and I'm going to be performing at it again on July 5th, Sunday. And I do, like I said, a lot of comedy throughout the week. But these circumstances where I get asked to perform as a comedian are always really cool. When I'm not hosting a show and I just get asked to perform, those are some of my favorites.
Oh, goodness, I bet. That is just wonderful. You have, now, do you have things out on, performances out on YouTube right now, or any way that the listeners can perhaps watch you, any recorded performances or anything like that?
I should. Ironically, it's very flattering that everybody loves my comedy and everybody says I'm a great comedian. I'm not really ambitious as a comedian, so I haven't made a whole lot of videos. My ambition is still with music, first and foremost. Music has been my first love and my true love throughout my entire life. My band and my music is my true ambition. Comedy has basically become my career, although it is one that I absolutely love and adore, of course. But I have also thought, now that I've been in the comedy game for a couple of years, that I should start making some videos and maybe taking it a little more seriously and creating some opportunities for myself in that regard.
Oh, great.
Just
You know, you're...
But you know me, I will figure out, 3 months from now that there's something else I want to do that I haven't done.
I can relate to that. I'm the same way, but I can also relate to what you do is you go out there and you make it happen. You don't talk about it. You don't whisper about it. You don't tell people that you're going to do it. You actually go do it and you make it happen. And I think that's just a wonderful, wonderful thing about your character, and it speaks volumes. And when you go out there and make it happen, what is the driving force behind your constant, I guess, source of energy and passion? Is it the passion that drives you? What drives you?
It's a lot of passion. Like Darklight as an example, I started the band, and this again was me doing something that just diving in head first because I've been a bass player, and throughout my career, I've, basically joined operating bands as a bass player. And it would seem to always have issues with personalities or with expectations because I'm also a promoter, so I have a high expectations for musicians that I perform with. So I told myself, versus joining another band, I should start a band of my own, put a group together with some guys that I just absolutely know that I will love and respect. And I mean, I hit the jackpot with Darklight. Xavier and Freak Show, those two guys are absolutely phenomenally talented musicians. They're super fun and cool and funny and very smart guys. I mean, the three of us complement each other so well. I mean, we're all very interesting and unique as individuals, but when you bring it together with the band, it's just something magical. It's really hard to explain. And that band has been operating strong and great for 3 years now. We're about to release a full-length album before this year is out, hopefully. We're really excited about that. So it's been a great experience, and to answer your question, that was part of how Darklight started. I had an idea versus just joining another band. I said, I just should start something from scratch and something me and these guys can build together as our own, and that's exactly what we did.
Wow, that's fascinating. And your music, gosh, I listen to it, and, I've said this before on air, I'll say it again. When you pop in a CD or your MP3, whatever your preferred, or vinyl, some bands you kind of hear the same song over and over again, although it's different songs. It's kind of different variations of a similar song. And with you guys, with Darklight, it's very noticeable that each song has its own flavor and that each song is so uniquely different from the previous one or the next one. And that's something that I would imagine
really
to be
hard.
Pardon?
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, we push ourselves really hard on that point. When we write from song to song, when we write a new song, we always kind of review everything we've done previously and try to make sure that we're not repeating ourselves as far as the songwriting. We want each song to be unique and be able to stand out on its own.
Wow. And then, I forgot to tell the listeners, you are calling in from?
Seattle, Washington.
Yep.
Technically Everett, Washington, but close to Seattle because nobody in the country is going to know where Everett is. About 10 miles out of Seattle.
Right.
We are a Seattle-based band, yes.
Yep. Seattle-based band. I just wanted to let people know that. And, it's just, some of the places that you've performed at for Darklight, you've performed with some pretty cool people, and you've performed with some pretty cool bands, and, you've kind of, I don't know where your band is at today. I remember that you were at Studio 7, I think.
Yeah, we've had some really amazing experiences. We have opened for so many great national bands such as OTEP, Chimera. We got to open for Wayne Static a couple of months before he died. He was doing the Wisconsin Death Trip tour with Static X, and that was a huge one for my singer because he grew up listening to Static X and being a huge fan. We played with Smile Empty Soul, Dope, just all of these huge bands. We're actually playing with Sanctuary on Halloween.
Oh, wow.
The list goes on. And also being able to perform with so many amazing local bands in this town is a huge privilege for us. We are big fans of a lot of bands, such as Kill Closet, Mechanism. I could sit here and list 20 bands, that.
Oh, yeah, me too. I could just go on and on.
One of the most recent ones I definitely want to give a shout-out to is Jesus Wears Armani. We played with those guys a few times. Their singer, Rich, has a work ethic like I haven't seen in a long time, promotes his band. They're amazing, amazing music, and if you haven't had a chance, you should definitely check them out.
Oh, I most certainly will, most certainly. I think that's, I think it's awesome. I think that people need to support local artists, and, I almost don't like using the word local because it almost sounds like, well, some people might have the implication that means not as good or something like that. I usually use the term maybe undiscovered artist or something like that.
Or independent.
Or independent, exactly. And
I agree with you wholeheartedly. People hear local, and it's almost like a tag that says inferior, which is inaccurate.
It's totally inaccurate because, when I've gone to the independent music fests or songwriter showcase or you name it, a lot of the times I've heard stuff where I think, gosh, that needs to be on the Billboard charts. I'm just amazed. And so in no way do I think that celebrity might be better than a national band might be, quote, better than a local band because they are national. I actually believe that it all stems from the...
correct.
Yeah,
the only difference between the two is a label signing, but they are all artists. They are all writing and performing music. Even in the comedy realm, I work with comedians that perform on my stages that are funnier than some of the national comedians I grew up listening to. I'm a huge fan of so many comedians that I work with right now, and the people that have been to my comedy shows know this. Like, these people are hilarious. Like, I got to throw a big shout-out to Kiara Jordan, who was my mentor in comedy, and she's been performing for a lot of years. And this woman, she could get in front of 10,000 people and be fantastic. She works for one of the local news stations here as a traffic reporter and does comedy, when she has free time in the evenings. And it's almost sad to me to see people with this level of talent that are just kind of held back because, again, they have the local tag, and it's really hard for them to get out there and be taken seriously by anyone.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're going to go right back to comedy after this break. Thank you so much for calling in. So stay on hold because we've got more to talk about. And you're listening to The Cover It Show. It's on Tuesdays from 1 to 2 p.m. I'm your host, Jenn Finnley.
Are you between 12 and 24 years old and going through a difficult time? It's tough to be young and struggling, but there are plenty of resources for you.
Check out RenoYouthNetwork.com to learn where you can get help finding food, housing, education, jobs, and other services. Reno Youth Network can be used from your phone, computer, or tablet.
RenoYouthNetwork.com, your free online resource guide.
Boss, we've got a dead body at Genetosaurus. That's the news that awakens Jake Storm from a violent dream. It begins the story of Darwin's Sword, a terrifying but exciting debut novel from D.L. Whitehead, on sale now at Amazon and LRPNV.com. As Jake investigates the death of a researcher at Genetosaurus, he discovers that they've created a monster that can walk among humans without detection. A monster cloaked in the identity of his creator, who also happened to be the head of Genetosaurus. Jake must run for his life from a snowy Seattle landscape to a small, unfortified cabin in the mountainside outside of Las Vegas. There, a small band of friends unite in an effort to find a solution to killing the monster and deal with the psychotic government agent bent on the destruction of them all. Darwin's Sword is a lightning-paced thrill ride that will have you jumping at every noise. Published by LaRue Press, Darwin's Sword will keep you on the edge till the very end. Get it now at online retailers and LRPNV.com.
Have you always wondered about mountain lions in the state of Nevada? Do you know why the mountain lion is disliked by many sportsmen? It's viewed as a competitor since it preys on mule deer as part of its natural diet. Sportsmen like to kill mule deer, so mountain lions are not welcome to the party. The Nevada Department of Wildlife and the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past decade to kill mountain lions on behalf of sportsmen. Nobody knows for sure how many mountain lions live in Nevada. Over the past 40 years, estimates have ranged from a low of 350 to a high of 5,000. Current estimates number about 1,500 animals. About 200 mountain lions are killed each year in Nevada, most by sportsmen, shot from a tree after being chased by dogs. This message is brought to you by Nevadans for Responsible Wildlife Management. Visit them on Facebook for more information on how you can get involved in the protection of wildlife in Nevada.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd, host of AM News, part of America Matters Media, family of talk shows heard nationwide now. I want to thank Jan Hermson. She's the owner of LaRue Press here in Northern Nevada. Had enough faith in me that she actually published my very first book. It's called Final Breath. It's a love story. It's a love story. It takes place on the Wynema Ranch. Why do I tell you that? Because all the proceeds of this little gift book are going to our American heritage, the wild horses and Mustangs at the Wild Horse Sanctuary there at Wynema Ranch. Want to check them out? Go to wynemaranch.com. Write it down. It's WYNEMA Ranch.com, wynemaranch.com. Check it out. Or if you would like additional information about the book or the ranch, give me a call, 775-384-4444.
Welcome back to the Coverage Show. This is Jenn Finnley, your host. We are online with LittleBen. LittleBen is a comedian. He's a musician. He's a promoter. He just does a bit of everything, but he doesn't just do anything halfway. He does things all the way. And when any obstacles seem to pop up, you overcome them. And Ben, it's just so amazing to me still that you have it within you to overcome such a myriad of obstacles that I would imagine would be there. Obstacles such as maybe something doesn't go right when you're in the middle of a show. I can only imagine. I'm not there, but I can imagine how just things, having been on stage before, how sometimes things just happen and you got to improvise, right?
Well, I am, and I have to say this because a lot of my fans just want me to say this word on the air, but I am strongly motivated by boobs because I love boobs.
That's true. He loves boobs.
But to be honest, life always has obstacles. You and I know each other personally, and when we first met, when you were in Seattle, that's something we discussed is, you had a lot of obstacles you were overcoming, same as I did, and we really connected on that level. And I think everybody in their own way has obstacles that they deal with in life. Some of mine are very unique and extreme versus most people, which you know about those, and I won't get into that in detail on the air. But I, like anybody else on the planet, have obstacles I have to overcome on a daily basis. And so doing what I do for a living really helps me complement that. And providing smiles and entertainment for other people is a huge thing for me.
It is. You always make me smile whenever we're hanging out. You're like the light in the party, or the in the scene or whatever. You're the beacon, and people gravitate towards you.
I try to do my part. There's a lot of lights and beacons in our scene, which none of them should be discredited.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not discrediting anybody at all. I'm a big fan of a lot of people. So yeah. So I should rephrase that into you are one of the many beacons that are in the Seattle area. That's for sure. And when you started comedy, that was about, did you say it was about 2 years ago when you began like really hitting the...
Yes, and ironically speaking about overcoming obstacles, during that period of time, I had suffered, a bit of a breakup and some depression based on that, a little heartbroken. We've all been there. And so my first thought was, I need laughter. So I went to a couple of comedy shows and absolutely just had a great time, and, laughing was really helpful. And then again, like I said, I had that thought, it's like, I could do this. I could get on stage and tell jokes to make people laugh.
Absolutely.
And, that's pretty much where it started.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you went into that, because you're just, you have such a great sense of humor. And then, So switching gears a little bit, and then going back to...
Sorry, I'm laughing because on the Facebook feed, the people listening, they're like, yay, he said it. That's awesome.
Don't you usually say boobies, though? Not boobs?
No, I always
or do you always say... Oh, you do? Okay. Just to clarify.
It's a little douchey, but I think boob is a more mature way to appreciate the breastises of women.
There we go. Okay, now we have the aesthetics down. So, yeah. So, how far back do you go with your bandmates?
That's the really ironic part of the story. My singer had almost given up on playing live music when I contacted him. I had seen him in a previous band that he was a part of, and to be honest, in my opinion, he was the only good part of that band, which I told both him and his parents that night. I was blown away by his performance ability, his personality. Just he had the whole package. Mm-hmm. And that band broke up, and he just wasn't doing anything. And when I decided to start a band, I contacted him first. And at first he was very hesitant because he wasn't sure he wanted to do the band experience at all. I kind of talked him into it, pushed and prodded, and got him to come in and jam with me. And then our drummer, Xavier, and I love telling this story because it's hilarious, he and I were friends. I had hung out with him at a rehearsal studio, and he was in another band that he was playing drums for. And so when I contacted him, it was more of like, hey, do you just want to come jam with us? Because I knew he was in another band. So he walks in the studio to rehearse with Freak Show and I, and the first thing he tells us walking the door is, hey, guys, my other band just broke up. And so it's that moment where you're like, aw, but yeah. It just kind of worked out. That's too bad,
but guess what? We want you.
Yeah, the three of us, we started out, we did audition a couple more people over the first year, but we ultimately decided, it was just strongest with the three of us. The dynamic of what we were doing and just how we got along in our personalities, we didn't need any extra people. And we've had so much love and support from our community. We have a lot of great fans. It's just amazing. It's been an amazing experience. We're looking forward. We're 3 years into this. We're looking forward to the next 3, 5, 10 years.
I am too. I really am too. And part of your band, part of what interests me is this correct? You're a 3-piece. There's 3 of you, right?
Correct.
And when I listen to it, it's amazing because when you listen to Darklight, it's as if you're hearing more than 3 people. It's amazing how you pull that off. It's absolutely amazing how you, Xavier, and Freak Show just pull that off. I mean,
we hear that a lot, and that's really flattering. And just as a footnote, I mean, that's not even any magic in the recording. We're not tracking extra guitars. I mean, what you hear is Darklight. And something else we wanted to be really careful about is when we record our songs to put it out there as the 3 of us and not, because a lot of the bigger bands that only have a guitar and bass, Pantera being one of them, would often track extra guitars in their album recordings, which is fine. But it was very important for us to get away from that and actually record as a 3-piece, just same as we perform.
Right. And I can attest that I've seen Darklight perform, your band perform, and it's definitely top notch. There's some people that I'm sure everyone's had the experience where you're listening to the music, you're getting into the music, you love the music, you go to the concert, and one of two things might happen. Maybe you fall in love with the band as you were before, or in other cases, sometimes you might think, well, I don't know how great they were live, You guys, on the other hand, Darklight live is just incredible. And because we're talking about Darklight, that's why I'm not bringing up other bands, but there's so many bands in Seattle and in Reno and in LA and in New York. There's so many bands that are just top notch, and Darklight to me is just a chart top. I'm just waiting for you guys to hit it big because I know that that's what's going to happen. I mean, you're already hitting it big in so many ways because you're hitting the hearts of so many people with your music, and you're getting people to come together at your events. Yeah,
and considering we're essentially a metal band, 90%, maybe 95% of our peers are all 4- and 5-piece bands that have a huge heavy sound, and we love a lot of these bands. Not talking down on any of them, but for us, we realized as a 3-piece, we really had to step up our game, write super creatively, bring something different to the stage and to the show so we could stand out on our own 2 feet. And to my knowledge, there's not really any metal bands in this town right now doing what we do as a 3-piece, which definitely gives us a unique flavor. And, even us getting in front of all those bigger bands, like I mentioned, as a 3-piece local band, that's a huge order when you get in front of 500 people.
Oh, yeah.
And, you've got to be able to bring it, so we work really hard towards that end.
Oh yeah, and then performing on top of that, you're great performers. You're not, which there's nothing wrong with this, if bands prefer to be more still and more, in the moment. But when I watch you guys, it's just so fun because you're, kind of not bopping, but you're moving across the stage. You're doing this, you're doing that, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. And so if the listeners are in the Seattle area, you gotta check out Dark Light. And when is your next show with Dark Light?
Our next show, we only have really 2 on the books because we are working really hard on getting this album released this year. There's one on Halloween that I mentioned opening for Sanctuary at Studio 7, which we're really excited about. Our next show, for any of the local people listening, we are going to be playing on Friday, July 24th at Flight's Pub, which is one of our favorite bar venues to play. And we're playing with a absolutely amazing band that we love, called The Purpose Being. And we're really excited to play with those guys. And then our good friends in Vertical are opening the show, and it's going to be a great show, and we're really excited about it.
Oh, awesome. How wonderful is that? Absolutely. I wish I could be there. I really do. I'll be there in spirit, though. I promise that. And, on Facebook, too. So when people go to look you up, the Facebook, is that, first, I'm so sorry, but my computer's down. So is it facebook.com/ and then...
Dark Light Band.
Okay, that's what I thought. Dark Light Band. Okay. So listeners out there, check out facebook.com/ Dark Light Band. And you will find photos, you'll find info, and then you have a website too, right?
We have a Reverb Nation.
Oh, that's
which
right.
Is the Dark Light Band, I believe. My singer is currently working on an actual website. Like the first, just, for the listeners that might be interested in the band or more information, the first 3 years the band was basically a build. We recorded a 6-song EP, which is what you played some